What is going on, YouTube? I am Lamont at Large on this gray and dreary day here in Alton, Illinois. Currently, I am at the Upper Alton Cemetery. I'm here to visit the grave of Robert Pershing Wadlow, the tallest man to ever walk the face of the earth. Robert Pershing Wadlow was born February 22nd, 1918, right here in Alton, Illinois. He was born to Harold and Adley Wadlow. He was born at a very healthy and normal weight, 8.5 pounds. Nothing too remarkable about that size. Well, until he got a little bit older, then the parents started wondering what was going on here. By the time Robert was about 6 months old, he weighed in at around 30 pounds. That's a very, very big baby right there. When he turned around 18 months, he was already almost 70 pounds. When they enrolled Robert into kindergarten, by then, at the age of 5, he was already just about 5 feet tall. One of his classmates in the first grade remarked that how big Robert was, being in the first grade, 6 years old, about 5'4", and yet he was still a little boy. One day he had fell and hit his head on the floor, and he started crying. And when he got up, the teacher stood on her tippy toes and kissed the top of Robert's head to make him feel better. When he was 12 years old and in the 7th grade, Robert was already 7 feet tall. His parents then took him to Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, which is about 20 minutes away as the crow flies from here. And after a battery of tests from the doctors at the Barnes hospitals and consulting other doctors in other hospitals around the area, it was determined that Robert suffered from a problem with his pituitary gland. The pituitary gland, is a gland that pretty much controls the size that you're going to be, and it's at the base of your brain. And, well, it was a overactive pituitary gland, similar to the thyroid. So, you got to say, this kid, very large, but yet in a small town, everyone pretty much already accustomed to how big he was, and his classmates would rib him, but it was all in good fun. A lot of his neighbors and his friends would describe him as a pretty bright kid, above average IQ. He was a very, very good student, and just very congenial. Very, very congenial. After he graduated high school, at that time, he was already well over 8 feet tall. And when he was 19, he was made by Guinness Book of World Records as the tallest man in the world at 8 feet 4 inches tall. And at that time, he weighed in a little over 400 pounds. So Robert went to school here. He had wanted to get his degree and possibly go into law school. He made money on the side by selling pictures of himself for 15 cents a pop. And he had a lemonade stand, and a lot of people from St. Louis would come to his lemonade stand, but he would tell them, hey, hold up. He would make them buy a drink first before he stood up so they could see how tall he was. To get around town, Robert's parents had their car, the front passenger seats removed, so he would just sit in the back and just recline his feet. Later on, as an adult, he got a job as a spokesperson for the International Shoe Company. They would give him free shoes for the rest of his life and pay him, and he would make special appearances all over the country. I believe he went to over 40 states and traveled well over 300,000 miles. And with that size, you're going to have problems with your body. Now, you would think that he probably would have back and knee problems, but the problems that lied with him and his body were his feet. He described as he got bigger, his feet being a major problem. He wore a size 37E shoe, of course, being specially made by the International Shoe Company. And as he got older and it became more difficult for him to walk, he had to start using the cane around the time he was 20 years old. His father described how he walked like if somebody stuck their foot in a bucket of cement. And that's how the way he walked. On July 15th, 1940, Robert Pershing Wadlow passed away at a hotel in Manistee, Michigan. He had been in Michigan to have surgery on his feet because he had developed a blister on his foot, which became infected. He ran a fever of over 105 degrees, and that night he died in his sleep. And here he is, the tallest man that ever walked the face of the earth. And as you can see, this is the Wadlow family grave. This is Robert's grave right there. It is the centerpiece of the family grave. If you can kind of see right here how absolutely big the grave is, you can kind of see where it stops right here. I mean, absolutely massive. His mother had him buried in a concrete reinforced vault because she was worried about people breaking into it. And after he died, she burned all of his clothes and his possessions because she didn't want people offering her money to buy his possessions. But some of his things were kept in they're in the Smithsonian Institute. I believe his suit and a pair of pants and a chair that was specially made for him to sit in. This is his brother, the younger brother, Harold Wadlow Jr. He died December 31st, 2000. You got his younger brother, Eugene Wadlow. I believe that would be Kimma A. Wadlow. That is his sister. And his parents right here, Addie and Harold. I've been meaning to visit this man's grave for quite some time, and I made dang well sure that I stopped here and visited his grave before I went down south. And I can only imagine how he feels and how he felt walking so uncomfortably with those, with the problems with his feet. I sprained my foot at the gym a couple days ago, and I hobbled over here right now as I was walking, talking about this man really quickly in his life. And, you could only imagine that at the end of the day, I'm sure he got tired of people kind of pointing at him and staring at him. And his friends, they did say that the only time he would ever get mad, is when he would make special guest appearances, especially if it was far away from where he lived, because people didn't believe how tall he was, so they would kick his shins because they believed that it was just a man walking on stilts, and he would get really angry. But other than that, this guy truly was a gentle giant, an impeccable dresser. Almost obsessively, he would ask his father or his uncle, whoever he was traveling with, do I have any spots on my clothes? Is there any wrinkles? Very well dressed, very intelligent. Again, very, very big, but very soft spoken. When he died, he was still growing. He was 8'11" and 3/4 inches, and he weighed almost 500 pounds. If he would have lived another 6 months, he would have been 9 feet tall. Amazing. Okay, guys, I'm at Lamont at Large. I'll catch up with you on the next vlog. Peace out.